Today, we're going to be talking about the most free and the most democratic country in the world. And no, it's not that, guys. I'm talking about Russia. The topics are actually quite interesting, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about a few of them. About complete censorship in Russia, about the floodings in Russia that produce more grain for the ordinary normal people, about huge losses of energy exports to China, and about the Venezuelan presidential election. Let's get right into it. What is up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new video on Sanctioned Ivan's channel. And before we get into the interesting topics, I would really appreciate if you could hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the bell button, because that way you're going to be always up to date with the videos coming out on this channel. And if you would like to support my work, you could also check out my Patreon in the links in the description. The first topic we're going to be talking about: censorship in Russia. Owners of social network channels with more than 10,000 followers on them will now have to be registered with the Russian government. This is done to not spread forbidden information on the land of Russia, the most free and democratic country in the world. The list of social networks is actually quite big. It includes 15 websites like VK, which is a Russian social network, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Telegram, RuTube, Pinterest, whatever. It's a big list. 15 social networks, and it's the biggest ones that you could still use on the territory of Russia. Although I don't know why they've included YouTube in, since they are actually banning it. And if you didn't know about it, you could check out my previous video about Russia banning YouTube. It's going to be popping up somewhere right here, so you can go and check it out after you watch this video. For the channels who are unregistered with Roskomnadzor, which is this agency which controls the internet, the media, and all that stuff included, will have prohibitions. Surprise, surprise. So if you're unregistered, you are not allowed to advertise on your channels. So as you know, there is no monetization for YouTube in Russia. So a lot of YouTubers used to be contacted by companies that are working in Russia to be advertised on their channel, so that they would put their advertisement inside of their video. So now, if you don't register yourself, it is going to be illegal to do so. Other prohibitions include collecting donations and reposting videos or any information about that channel. How crazy is that? So if a channel is unregistered with the state government, you're not allowed to support it, you're not allowed to advertise on it, and you're not even allowed to repost it. This means that the regime controlling Russia right now is trying to take full control, not only of state television, but also of the internet itself, because YouTubers and social influencers are a big part that they need to control, so that they wouldn't be spreading the misinformation that the Russian government considers. So they're scared of ordinary people making videos, and now they want to control them. There are many people who live in Russia right now, even foreigners, even from the USA, Canada, Great Britain, and a lot of them were telling me, Ivan, you're talking nonsense. Russia is a really free and democratic country with family values, and they produce videos on YouTube. All right, guys, but you gotta get your head stuck out of the donkey's butt, because clearly, with the new laws passing in, you are the ones who are gonna get controlled by the government. So now, whoever does YouTube from inside of Russia is probably already controlled by the state government. Because if they are operating inside of Russia, they're probably advertising some of the Russian companies. And I've seen a few YouTubers that are not Russian, but they are living in Russia, and they have many Russian followers, and they go out and about and advertise some businesses, etc., etc. Now it's going to be illegal if they don't register themselves. So that has to ring somebody's bell. But at the same time, what do you guys have to worry about? YouTube is going to be banned in Russia anyways, so I don't even understand why they put that list in there. But yeah, nothing to worry about. YouTube is going to be unfortunately banned in Russia, so ordinary Russian people are not going to be able to get some information from the outside world about the ongoing situation. And matter of fact, not even that. There's a lot of educational content that they could have been using to learn how to program, rebuild their engine, build a house, cook a barbecue. All of that is going to be gone very soon. And that really saddens me because I am talking about my home country. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a big patriot. I love my country. I don't support the current regime. News number 2. The federal agency, which I was talking about on the first point that said that you have to be registering if you have more than 10,000 followers, have full control on networks inside of the Russian Federation. What does that mean for the ordinary people living inside of Russia? Before, they could have been blocking some websites, but they would have to go through a lot of talking with the government officials, and it would take them time to be able to block some sort of a resource. Now, since they have full controls of network, they could be banning websites in one click. How great is that? So now, if, for example, you make a website in Russia and you talk about the real situation on the war front or talk about the government, that's going to be banned in a split second because now they have the authority to clear out the internet of the things they don't like seeing on the Russian side. And what does that also mean? Just like I said in my previous video about the ban of YouTube, that Google is probably going to be their next target. And what does this new power mean to this agency? That in one click, they could ban the websites on Google, or they could just completely shut off Google for Russians, which means that Russia is getting isolated even more as I speak. Every single minute the Russian government is taking to isolate the citizens even more because they are afraid that the Russian population might be getting some information into their heads that might change their mind and start questioning themselves of the things they see on television, which is also state-controlled. Now Russia is just completely state-controlled. The internet, social networks, social influencers, you call it. Everything is state-controlled. Energy crisis in Russia. Export of electrical energy to China has went down 76%. And if you guys didn't know, this is a huge thing. Since Russia is sanctioned, not a lot of countries buy their energy and try to bypass buying energy from different places. Russia had to start selling energy to India and China. But since the export of energy to China went 76% down since last year, that means huge financial loss for the Russian economy, which definitely is going to weaken it even more. And the reasoning behind it is because the thermal energy plants are going out of service because they were serviced by outside Western companies. So now, to renew the energy exports, they're actually talking about getting Chinese manufactured piston engines for those thermal energy plants. I don't know what to say about it, but I wouldn't be trusting Chinese energy plants in Russia. Would you trust Chinese components in your thermal energy plants? That sounds like an explosive idea. Chelyabinsk, the hometown of NFKRZ, Roman himself. You guys probably don't know about this, but there is flooding going on in Chelyabinsk right now. But the governor's wife, Irina Texler, announced that she was happy with the rain because the fields are filled with wheat. Yeah, that doesn't look like fields, but due to the rains and a dam break and burst pipes, the Chelyabinsk region was flooded. People there have been without electricity for the past 2 weeks, and they're walking around with rubber boots. Now, obviously they had water, but it was just all roaming inside of their houses. And I just do not understand this. We could see a video of the governor's wife talking to the people.
Друзья, в этом году, наверное, погода нас не очень радует, но какого настоящего уральца может напугать вот такой вот дождь, такая непогода? Мы, наоборот, радуемся этому дождю, потому что наши поля наливаются пшеницей, у нас растет прекрасные яблоки, и у нас будет замечательный урожай.
And after this talk, I just don't understand how could she be even making this is not even an announcement. This is talking about how happy she is with the rain. Meanwhile, people are losing their houses to floods. And the interesting thing is, the governor and the government is saying to people, don't be sad, guys. We got you sorted out. The government is going to be assisting you. Don't worry, it's an emergency situation. You guys have lost houses, cars, documents, clothes, and all that stuff. But don't worry, we're going to pay you out 150,000 rubles for all of your lost property. Ooh, you know what? 150,000 rubles sounds like a lot of money until you put that into US dollars, which is 1,737 US dollars. Do you think that for $1,737 you could fix up your house after major flooding, fix up your car after major flooding, and get all that stuff done? And I remind you guys, that amount of money, even in Russia, cannot fix up the problems of the way that people lost their houses. This is just, the government is taking a piss at the people. So the flooding there is because of the rain. And because of that rain, a dam has completely disintegrated and flooded Chelyabinsk. And it is the government's fault that they didn't reinforce the dam. So now they're just going to be paying $1,700 for their repairs. How disgusting is that? I cannot believe that this is the type of thing that is happening in my country. I think that I just don't know what to say, guys. I honestly don't know what to say because this is horrific. All of the news like this is just like, you know, flooding, and then you take a piss out of people. $1,700 to fix up your house. You got the government controlling internet, influencers, everybody. And this is just crazy. Now, the last thing that I really wanted to talk about is not about Russia, but about the Russian similarity. And that is Venezuelan presidential election. Now, Venezuela had presidential elections, and Vladimir Putin has congratulated Nicolas Maduro on his re-election as the president of Venezuela. And here are the voting results. Now, I'm not a mathematician, so let's take out a calculator and check this out. I'm literally gonna take out my phone to calculate this. So we see elecciones presidenciales, Venezuela, resultados, and whatever, right? So we got Nicolas Maduro at 51.2%. And then we add Edmundo Gonzalez, which is at 44.2%. That is at 95.4%. All right, so that sounds interesting, right? But then we got Daniel Ceballos at 4.6%. What the heck? That's already at 100%. And we still got two candidates that each got 4.6%. So, what? And then another 4.6% from Jose Brito Rodriguez? What the heck? How could this add up to 109%? They're just not even hiding it anymore. They could be doing the same thing in Russia. But, obviously, Vladimir Putin has congratulated Nicolas Maduro. And as they say, tell me who you are from who your friend is. But the difference is, what is happening in Venezuela right now is crazy. Here's a few clips of what's going on.
Fuera, maldito Maduro, no joda. Maldito del petit hueputa desgraciado.
And this is the ordinary citizens trying to fight for real results, because even the president of Chile has said that the elections in Venezuela were completely rigged and that he himself doesn't really agree to them. The world is going crazy, and I wish when one person got elected in Russia, the ordinary people would stand up. But the interesting thing is, I would like to look closely at what happens in Venezuela, because a lot of people were saying that Russian people should stand up and protest. This is what Venezuela is doing with cocktail Molotovs and fighting with the police. Let's see what sort of a result that brings. Maybe if something changes for the good in Venezuela, that could be a big inspiration for countries like Russia to fight off the regime. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you are enjoying this new format, because from what I see, you guys clearly are enjoying it. So don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out my Patreon, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.